This high school loser's life suddenly changed one day, when he got kidnapped by the wealthiest family of Japan and suddenly got thrown into a school full of beautiful girls who have never seen a boy, and he is the only boy there. At the start of the story, we're introduced to the main character, Kimito, who is a simple poor guy, living a basic life. But his life is about to change now. As soon as Kimito steps out of his class, he sees a group of bodybuilders approaching him. They kidnap him. Kimito doesn't even resist, probably because he was already terrified after seeing their muscles. Anyway, the bodybuilders throw Kimito on the roadside, where a maid named Mio comes to him and tells him that she works for the richest family in Japan. Then, as she takes him inside, she explains that her master wants him to study at their school, a school called Saikon Family School. Basically, they want a boy to attend their school, and they've chosen him. Kimito replies, "But when did I say I wanted to be chosen?" To which Mio calmly responds, "I'm just following orders." While talking, they reach the director's office. The director tells Kimito that he's been admitted to the school to solve a few social problems. You see, whenever the girls graduate from this school and step into the real world, they get shocked after seeing so many guys because they have no experience being around them. And of course, how could they? They never interacted with any boys during their school years. So, Kimito's mission is to help the girls avoid this problem once they graduate and socialize easily with other men. Then Mio explains further that they brought him here because he's poor. Poor boys are the ones who are most often seen on the streets, and that's exactly the type of guy the rich girls of this school find difficult to deal with. So they want the girls to get used to guys like him, so that in the future they don't freak out when standing or walking next to one. Not just that, Mio even thinks Kimito might like boys, so there won't be that kind of issue either. But Kimito clears that up, saying he doesn't like boys and that her investigation is wrong. Still, Mio says that even if he does like girls, it's not a big deal. She doesn't believe he'll do anything inappropriate anyway. Then, all the girls in school come to meet Kimito. The class leader, a yellow-haired girl named Reiko, gives him back his phone, which Mio had taken earlier. Reiko returns it very politely, all packed up. But when Kimito takes it, his hand touches hers, and Reiko feels something strange. That unfamiliar feeling makes her almost fall, but our hero Kimito catches her in time. Reiko faints as it's the first time a boy's ever been that close to her. Just then, hearing all the noise, another girl shows up and pulls Kimito away. She takes him outside, lays him on the ground, and climbs on top of him. She was about to kiss him, but Kimito pushes her away just in time. This girl's name is Aika. She thought her wish would be fulfilled if she kissed Kimito like he was some magical frog. But Kimito refuses, so she starts to act a bit dramatic. Right after her little drama ends, more girls arrive, and seeing them, Aika runs off. Then Mio takes Kimito to his room, which has posters all over the walls. But Kimito rips them off and throws them out, since he doesn't like such posters. Mio understands and instead gives him a magazine full of bodybuilders. That makes Kimito surprisingly happy. Mio leaves, saying she'll provide him with whatever he needs. Just after she leaves, Aika barges into the room, yelling and demanding that Kimito to fulfill her wish. Kimito refuses again and calmly explains that kissing someone won't make wishes come true. Aika actually wants to become everyone's favorite, but she always runs away from people, just like she did earlier. Kimito clearly explains to her that if she stops doing that and starts talking to people nicely, everyone will like her. Hearing this, Aika becomes a bit sad, so to cheer her up, Kimito gives her his video game. That makes Aika happy, and she tells him that now she'll make lots of online friends and even start her own club with all of them joining. Then the scene shifts to the morning, where Mio comes to wake Kimito up. She tells him that it's his first day at school and he should get ready quickly. Once ready, Kimito starts to leave, but runs into Aika at the door. So they head to school together. While walking, Aika says to Kimito, "If you ever want to skip a class, just tell me. I know a secret back door to sneak out of the school." Kimito doesn't respond and keeps walking. They reach the classroom where the class rep Reiko welcomes Kimito, and his school life officially begins. Next, they head to B class. Aika doesn't perform well, but Kimito does great, impressing all the girls who rush over to praise him. This annoys Aika, but she can't do anything, so she stays quiet. Later, everyone attends a party thrown to celebrate Kimito's admission. The girls enjoy an extravagant feast, but Kimito only eats simple noodles because he wasn't given the fancy food. After dinner, Kimito was called to the stage to dance and entertain the girls. Reiko was there too, looking like a princess in her outfit. The music starts, and at first, she dances with the other girls and it looks amazing. Then it's Kimito's turn. Reiko personally invites him to dance with her. Kimito sweetly holds her hand and starts doing a cyclone-style funny dance but ends up screaming because he accidentally picked the wrong girl to dance with. The party ends with laughter and chaos. Kimito returns to his room to rest, but then Aika barges in to talk to him. She wants to see what kind of manga a commoner reads. As she reads, she really enjoys it and wishes for a power to stop time like in the manga. Kimito, unwillingly playing along with her antics, gets caught in her imaginary magic and she tries to kiss him after paralyzing him. But just as she leans in, Kimito vomits on her face. Furious, Aika punches him hard. Next scene cuts to Reiko, who was taking bath in her side of the hot spring. Kimito, goofing around, enters the hot spring from the boys' side but ends up opening the door to the girls' section. There, he sees Reiko and was so shocked he nearly stops breathing. He slams the door shut just in time, before suffering a heart attack. The next day in class, when the two meet again, they feel shy and avoid eye contact. Reiko's cheeks are totally red. Just then, Reiko tells him that after yesterday's incident, she started getting thoughts of marriage. Before she can say more, or Kimito can fully respond, the scene cuts to another day. Like always, Mia wakes Kimito up and tells him that the school has turned his parents' home into a luxurious mansion in exchange. They didn't file a police report for their son being taken away. A little later, Kimito returns to his class. But this time, he sees a strange blue-haired girl acting weirdly. She's actually a genius student who works in school lab, and Kimito brings her back to his room. There, she properly puts her clothes back on because outside, she was taking them off. But before anyone else could see her, Kimito quickly wrapped her shirt around her and brought her in. As the girl was fixing her clothes, Kimito asks her who she is. She tells him her name is Haku and that she works inside laboratory. Hearing this, Kimito gives her something to eat, but as soon as she eats, Haku falls asleep right there. Though she wakes up shortly after and suddenly stands up in a weird pose. Just then, Aika enters Kimito's room with her eyes closed. When she opens her eyes and sees Kimito with this girl in that position, she gets furious and her eyes go wide in shock. Kimito panics, as he really doesn't want Aika to misunderstand. To avoid further issues, Kimito takes her back to the laboratory. There, a maid tells Kimito that Haku, despite her young age, is a genius. She can solve those mathematical equations that make others break into a sweat. Hearing this, Kimito shares what just happened a while ago with her. The maid is equally shocked to hear that. Kimito tells the maid that extremely intelligent people often behave a bit weirdly and Haku is just like that. He tells her to keep an eye on Haku and leaves. After he leaves, the maid informs all the other maids that Haku has broken the lab's rule by eating food outside the laboratory. Everyone was surprised to hear that. Meanwhile, Kimito was heading somewhere with Reiko, when suddenly he sees a girl holding a katana. Her name is Karen. As soon as Karen sees Kimito, she draws her katana and attacks him out of fear. Kimito hadn't even said anything, he was just walking past. But maybe in this school, girls don't like boys around. Perhaps that's why Karen attacked him. Then she steps back and says, "What are useless boys like you doing here?" After saying this, she swings her katana and all Kimito's clothes disappear. Kimito realizes that the only way to stop her is by fighting. Both rush toward each other. But before either can attack, something awkward happens accidentally between them, causing Karen to blush and step back shyly. Karen then tells Kimito that she wants to become his disciple as she got defeated by him. Ignoring what just happened, they move on. In the next scene, we see Aika once again pestering Kimito. While she's doing so, Haku comes in and sits beside Kimito. Aika keeps arguing. When Karen also arrives, she had passed out earlier but has now regained consciousness. She now formally asks Kimito to accept her as his disciple. She says she lost to him, so she will do whatever he says, anything though not in a wrong way. So stop thinking that. Next, we see Reiko arriving with a few other girls to meet Kimito in her own unique attitude. With blushing cheeks, she invites Kimito to her second party. But before Kimito can respond to Reiko's invitation, Aika shows up, grabs his hand, and says he has to come with her. She drags him outside and tells him that the party is going to be in Reiko's room, and if something wrong happens with him there, it could be bad. Kimito agrees that Aika has a point, so he politely tells Reiko that he has something to do with Aika and won't be able to attend the party. Reiko doesn't say anything in return and leaves, but after returning to her side, Reiko's classmates start gossiping, saying Kimito rejected Reiko's invitation because Aika told him to, and maybe Kimito and Aika are now boyfriend-girlfriend. Hearing this, Reiko gets angry. She yells at her friends and walks away. Actually, Reiko is in love with Kimito. Kimito hears her shouting and later goes to meet her. Reiko welcomes him but looks sad. Kimito can't understand what exactly happened. After that, he returns to his room, where Aika was waiting. Kimito tells her that Reiko is upset because she found out that Aika is going to host the commoner event. Aika responds, "Oh, then let her do it. I'll make a nice plan for her." Now the scene shifts to the commoner event, where Reiko behaves like a normal girl and performs quite well. She even takes pictures with her classmates, just like regular commoners do. The event continues until evening. In the evening, Reiko comes to Kimito and thanks him for today. She says that because of him, she felt really good today. But Kimito tells her that it wasn't his idea, it was actually Aika's. So she shouldn't thank him. As soon as Reiko finds out Aika was behind it, she gets really angry and runs off, upset with Kimito. She feels like Aika is constantly coming between them. Although Kimito only wanted them to become friends, Reiko misunderstands. Reiko then storms into Kimito's room, where she finds Aika lying on his bed. Seeing this makes her even angrier, and she yells at Aika, "I hate you." Aika had no idea what's going on, but before she can explain anything, Reiko starts fighting her. Aika tells Reiko to stay away, but Reiko jumps on her and tries to hit her. However, she can't land a hit because Aika holds her hands. Aika thinks how could she possibly get beaten up in front of a boy? That would be humiliating. So now she fights back. While they're fighting, Aika catches a glimpse of Kimito and throws a pillow at him. That ends the fight. A little while later, we see Aika happily playing video games. Meanwhile, Karen, Haku, and Reiko enter the room. Reiko has formed a commoner club and want Kimito to join it. But Aika doesn't like the idea at all and doesn't want Kimito to join. Reiko says, "The club will only have the two of us," which makes Aika more furious. Before they start clawing at each other like cats, Kimito says that even Aika should join the club so they can all become good friends. Neither Reiko nor Aika agrees to this. The scene shifts to the next morning. As soon as Kimito opens his eyes, he sees Haku sleeping next to him, even though she's supposed to be in the lab. He ignores it and cooks food for her, then drops her back at the lab. Meanwhile, Aika and Reiko are discussing how Haku is always with Kimito. Aika tells Reiko, "If we keep fighting, Haku will win. We should become friends and work together to find a solution." Reiko agrees, but Karen objects to this. Her plan is that as soon as Haku enters Kimito's room again, they'll catch her and teach her a good lesson. So they both go to Kimito's room and wait. As Haku is about to enter through the door, from there, things turn playful, and the three girls start having fun. Even though they originally came to deal with Haku, they end up doing something else entirely and eventually, they all become good friends. Just then, a maid from the lab comes to pick up Haku, and she leaves with her. A while later, Kimito comes back to his room and starts playing a video game, which he was really enjoying. But then Aika enters, and to avoid her constant chatter, Kimito gives her the game and leaves the room. As soon as he leaves, Reiko comes in, and the two girls start snooping around Kimito's room, trying to learn more about him. Aika opens his fridge and finds a drink they've never had before, so they decide to try it. The drink turns out to be so disgusting that they spit it out, and because they were facing each other, they end up spiting on each other and both get soaked. As they were removing their wet clothes, Kimito walks in, and while seeing them like that, Aika screams so loudly that Kimito nearly dies of fear. Without even taking a second to enjoy the view, he runs out of the room because, after all, safety first. A little while later, Kimito was called to the director's office, where he was told that they've organized a trip for the girls. The purpose is to let them experience what it's like to live in society like a commoner. The next day, they all leave for the trip by airplane. Upon arrival, they find a place designed to look just like a normal city, but there are no other people around. This entire city has been specially created just for the girls. They first cross a road, then go to a restaurant and eat like normal people. Kimito, after eating fast food for the first time in ages, gets so happy that he starts dancing. After that, Karen buys a t-shirt and shows it off to Kimito. But there's something more going on here. Karen had previously told Kimito that she would do whatever he says. So Kimito jokingly tells her to take her clothes off. But Karen refuses and tries to resist, but what happens after that you can imagine. Meanwhile, Aika and Reiko were in their room. Aika was chilling, completely in her own zone, and ignores Reiko. This upsets Reiko, and she quietly moves to a corner. Seeing her sad, Aika comes to her and asks what's wrong. Reiko says Kimito doesn't talk to her much, even though she's the most popular girl in school. Then the scene shifts to Kimito, who accidentally enters the girls' bath early in the morning. Suddenly, Aika comes in and sees him, which freaks Kimito out, but before he can leave, more girls enter. To avoid being caught, Kimito hides underwater in a tub. But Aika ends up sitting right on top of him, which nearly drowns him. Once the girls finally leave, Aika pulls him out of the water and gives him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to save him. Kimito survives, but unfortunately, other girls witness the scene, and they're completely shocked. They've never seen anything like that before. Later, Kimito wakes up in his room but doesn't remember anything. When he steps outside, the girls give him strange looks, but Kimito doesn't pay much attention. Then Aika comes to him, and Kimito asks why the girls are acting so weird. Aika tells him, "They think we're dating." Before she can explain more, Karen arrives and slaps Kimito hard and storms off angrily. Poor Kimito passes out from just one slap. So much for being manly. Later, Aika explains the full truth to Reiko. Reiko feels relieved that it was all just a misunderstanding. Then Reiko asks, "Shouldn't we tell Kimito the truth too?" Aika says, "Not yet, I'll tell him at the right time." But then the two girls start arguing with each other again. Later, while everyone was sitting in Kimito's room, he uses a fortune-telling app on his phone to predict his future. When Karen's turn comes, the app shows her future in a very funny way, but we aren't shown what exactly it predicts. Karen then snatches the phone and opens another app, a compatibility matching app. It checks who among the girls matches best with Kimito. First, it shows Aika's score, which is 80 out of 100, meaning Jaika's likes and dislikes match Kimito's 80%. Aika gets super excited and starts jumping with joy. Then Reiko says, "Let me check too. Maybe my match score is higher than Aika's." And she's right, Reiko and Kimito's score is 90%. The app even says that with 90% compatibility, they can get married. Hearing this, Reiko was thrilled, but Aika's mood was completely ruined. Finally, the app checks Haku's score, which turns out to be very low, just a few percent. And rightly so. If a kid got a high match score, that would mean the app is broken. But no, the app was working just fine. The app had already proven itself, and finally, when Karen's compatibility is checked, the result comes out to be 0%. Seeing this, Karen gets angry and points her katana at Kimito, but then she realizes that Kimito entered the wrong ID. Calming down, she asks him to enter the correct one, and what no one had expected happens. Karen and Kimito's match turns out to be 100%. Seeing this, Karen starts blushing instead of fighting. Meanwhile, when Reiko and Aika find out about this, they start arguing, which Karen also joins. While the three of them are busy bickering, Kimito and Haku sneak away to get ice cream, mainly to avoid being dragged into the fight, which could break out at any moment, something Kimito definitely doesn't want to be part of. Later that morning, Mio wakes Kimito up, which he doesn't appreciate at all, since Mio always interrupts his precious sleep. Kimito tries to argue, but Mio shuts him down, saying, "It's my job to wake you up." Kimito gives in, eats breakfast, and steps outside, only to be attacked by Karen with her katana. Her strike almost cuts off his arm, but since Kimito loves his arm, he uses all his strength to dodge, and only his shirt gets ripped instead. Kimito is terrified, but Karen calms down and takes him to her room. Once there, she serves him tea and starts sewing his torn shirt, all of which confuses Kimito, who has no idea why Karen is acting like this. When he asks her, she gets shy. Then, she even starts taking off his t-shirt for some reason, but just as something might happen, the other three girls suddenly enter. In embarrassment, Karen and Kimito hide under the closet, but the space was too small, so they end up getting exposed in front of everyone. Seeing the two like that, the girls react in all sorts of ways. A little while later, everyone gathers in Kimito's room and starts chatting. Kimito suggests they try wearing maid outfits. The girls like the idea and decide to go with it. Later, dressed in those outfits, they all go to a hotel where they have to serve Kimito. Kimito explains how to serve food and gives the order. All the girls go to fetch the food, except for Reiko, who stays behind and starts singing. Her singing was so dangerous that it shatters the glass in the hotel. Kimito barely manages to survive it. Sometime later, Kimito was relaxing in the garden when a maid from the laboratory comes and takes him away, as Haku had called him to show something. That something was a castle that Haku built herself, and Kimito was thoroughly impressed. Afterwards, they go to the laboratory cafeteria to eat, and to others, it looks like they're on a date. The maid serving them even starts imagining their love story, and to help make it real, she serves them a romantic couple's meal. But nothing actually romantic happens. Just then, their boss Mio arrives, forcing the maid to snap out of her fantasy. Later, Aika visits Kimito's room, where he gives her a gift. When she opens it, it's a yellow shirt and pants, something Kimito got for her so she could look more popular at school. Ecstatic, she changes clothes in lightning speed and rushes off to school. Before that, Kimito had even taught her a few stylish poses, which Aika quickly mastered. But she ran off before listening to all his advice. So when Kimito hurries out of his room to stop her, he accidentally bumps into Meiko. On the other side, Aika runs up to Reiko, shows her the suit, and runs off. But Reiko wants to stay behind to know the full story, so she follows Aika. Aika, happy to share, tells her how Kimito gave her the yellow suit and also taught her a few techniques to become more popular. Hearing this makes Reiko very sad, but she doesn't want to ruin her life over it. So she asks Aika to teach her those same techniques. Aika agrees instantly, and then takes her to class and teaches her everything. After learning it, Reiko says they should teach it to the other girls in school too, and Aika agrees. Meanwhile, Kimito was looking for Aika, but he can't find her anywhere. Then when he opens his classroom door, he was shocked to see all the girls in school wearing yellow suits. The next day, when Reiko was about to enter Kimito's room, she overhears him talking on the phone. From the conversation, she finds out that Kimito will be leaving school in a few days to meet a friend and not a girl, but a boy. Shocked and worried, Reiko runs off to inform the other girls that Kimito is leaving school. Aika then suggests a plan to act like boys, so that Kimito doesn't feel the need to leave. No one rejects the idea. In fact, they all agree. They bring a special muscle jacket that, when worn, makes fake muscles pop out. Aika and Reiko start fighting over who will wear it, each wanting to attract Kimito's attention. But Karen takes the jacket from between them. Later, we see Aika wearing the jacket, along with a fake mustache to fully look like a bodybuilder. She looked more like a clown, but no one had the heart to say it. When they all enter Kimito's room, it turns out everyone has transformed their appearance in a unique way to fill the missing guy gap for Kimito. But then, Aika blurts out their whole plan to Kimito, which was made just moments ago. Since the plan is now exposed, Reiko admits she heard Kimito talking on the phone, saying he was leaving school to meet a friend. Hearing this, Kimito feels a bit awkward but clears things up. He was just saying that casually, and he has no intention of leaving the school. The girls were shocked. They did all that hard work for nothing. After this, Reiko offers to teach Kimito how to properly arrange things, as an excuse to spend time close to him, knowing that Kimito won't be able to do it on his own. Her plan was smart, and Kimito, being innocent and unaware of these cunning girls' tricks, agrees. Later, they all gather at one place, where Reiko tells the others that she and Kimito are working hard together on a certain subject. When Aika asks about it, Reiko refuses to tell, saying it's their secret. Aika gets angry and grabs Reiko by the collar, demanding she tell her everything. But Reiko says nothing. Just then, some staff members come and inform Reiko that her mom and brother have come to visit the school, and they've also called for Kimito to see what kind of boy is staying with their daughter. When Reiko and Kimito go to the principal's office, Reiko's brother, Jarhak, threatens the principal, saying, "This isn't good for your school. How can a boy stay in an all-girls school? If you don't kick him out, I'll file a complaint." The principal doesn't say anything, but Reiko scolds her brother harshly, putting him in his place and forcing him to apologize to the principal. Then Reiko's mom reveals that Reiko's marriage has been fixed with a boy named Saratoshi. After this, before Kimito can say anything, he is asked to leave the office. Once outside, he tells everyone that he doesn't agree with this. How can rich people just fix their daughter's marriage with someone she doesn't even know? Kimito dislikes the idea and decides that no matter what happens, he won't let the marriage take place. One day, Aika calls Reiko to check on her. She finds out that Reiko doesn't want to get married and actually wants to come back to school to have fun with everyone just like before. But her mom won't allow her. Reiko says all this while crying, so Aika tells her not to worry, "We'll come get you soon." A while later, Reiko's brother arrives at school. It turns out he also doesn't want Reiko to get married, and so he decides to help Kimito and the others stop the wedding. The first thing is, Kimito has to escape from school because they can't stop the wedding unless he gets out. So, at night, he tries to sneak out without anyone noticing, but Mio sees him doing it. Still, she helps him escape, since she also doesn't want Reiko to get married so soon. Once Kimito escapes, Reiko's brother drives them in his car toward the wedding venue. Interestingly, the car was being driven by two muscular men, which makes Kimito start to worry for himself. By morning, they reach the venue. From a distance, Karen uses her scope to observe and sees that there's tight security at the gate. But Karen isn't one to back down. She charges ahead, takes down the guards in one swift attack, and even breaks the gate with one strike of her katana. However, before she can enter the hotel, more security guards arrive to block her way. But Karen uses her wind attack, defeating them all instantly. With the guards down, Kimito and the others enter the hotel, but soon encounter another strong guard, who begins attacking Kimito. Kimito barely dodges the attacks. Just then, Reiko's brother arrives and fights the strong guard, giving him a tough battle. While they were occupied, Kimito, Aika, and Haku move forward, facing many obstacles like blocked paths along the way, etc. Kimito and Aika somehow manage to get through, but Haku can't run fast, so Kimito carries her and runs. Eventually, they clear all the obstacles, but suddenly come face to face with a giant robot who was about to crush them. At the last moment, a mysterious woman appears and slices the robot into tiny pieces with her katana, and you can guess who she was. Finally, after all these challenges, Kimito reaches the wedding venue, where he tries to stop the marriage, but no one listens to him. So Aika steps forward and gives an emotional, heartfelt speech, after which she begins to cry. Reiko also starts crying after hearing Aika's words. Then, mustering her courage, Reiko stands up and tells her mom that she won't get married. Her mom says, "If you don't get married, you'll have to leave the house and live on the streets." Hearing this, Kimito steps forward and says, "It's okay, you can stay at my house. But this marriage won't happen." Reiko's parents are touched by Kimito's kindness, and they agree. Reiko's brother then arrives. Reiko's mom frees her, saying, "Now you can marry whoever you want." She adds, "Honestly, you should marry Kimito, you're going to be living together anyway, so it makes sense." Reiko was overjoyed, but it feels like lightning has struck Kimito. Even Aika, Karen, and Haku oppose the idea, each wanting to marry Kimito themselves. On top of that, Riko's brother finds out that she might marry Kimito, so he attacks Kimito, trying to prevent the marriage. In fact, his attack would have killed Kimito on the spot, but luckily Kimito survives and says, "No, I can't get married." In the end, the marriage doesn't happen, Reiko returns to school, and everything goes back to how it used to be. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel for more such anime recaps.